So reading for pizza, I feel like that's the dream that we're just all trying to get back
hmm
to the good vibes of if I got a pizza for every book I read, I would I would eat a lot of pizza. I do eat a lot of pizza anyway.
I
Anyway,
was gonna say like you don't now.
I
Hello and welcome to Valley Girls, the bi-weekly podcast exploring everything there is to see, do, try, eat, and experience in New York's Hudson Valley by talking to the makers, the doers, the growers, the creators, and all the unique voices of the Hudson Valley. I'm Jenny Leifer.
and I'm Jennifer Santiago, and together as the Valley Girls, we're telling the Hudson Valley story one episode at a time. We're so happy you're here.
Welcome to another episode of Valley Girls. If you've been listening over the past couple seasons, you know we love to shop small and support local businesses. Independent, creative, local businesses are a vital part of the Hudson Valley's unique character. And while they need our support year-round, it's never so crucial as during the holiday shopping season.
You've probably heard of Small Business Saturday. In retail, the day after Thanksgiving is referred to as Black Friday. It's the unofficial start of the holiday shopping season, marked by all sorts of special deals and sales. It's when retailers can get back into the black on their accounts, meaning making a profit as opposed to being in the red or running at a loss. So American Express played off Black Friday to launch Small Business Saturday way back in 2010, and it's been co-sponsored by the U.S. Small Business Association ever since.
Historically, reported projected spending among U.S. consumers who shopped at independent retailers and restaurants on Small Business Saturday reached an estimated $17.9 billion, according to 2022 Small Business Saturday Consumer Insight Survey commissioned by American Express. Of course, that's nationally. So we pulled together a panel of local business owners to zoom in on the impact of shopping small here in the Hudson Valley.
Yeah, we're talking to Nicole Andrick, who's the owner, founder of Catskills Candle Studio in Tannersville. Danielle Centifonti Davidson, whom you know from the 411 on Westchester segment. She is the president of the Rivertowns Chamber of Commerce, and she also owns Main Street Business Strategies. For the very first, but not last time, we have Jess Davis, the VP of the Ulster County Chamber of Commerce. And you may have seen her on my interview on our Literary Hudson Valley channel, but we've got Candace Rivera back. She is the owner of the Book and Nook, which is the only independent bookstore in Warwick.
Yes, so welcome to all of you. We're so thrilled to have you here. Let's start with Danielle and Jess. From your meta perspective, working with multiple businesses through your respective chambers of commerce, what are your observations on the importance of the holiday season for small businesses?
It's when and Jennifer, you were mentioning this as well. It's when most businesses make their nut for the year, right? So from October through December, it's the busiest, wildest journey for these small business owners. And it's not just about the sales, it's like navigating the question of additional staff, whether they can afford it, whether they need it, scheduling, and then, whether or not they do sales and discounts and extra events when it's already the craziest time of year. We definitely know that from the chamber perspective. And then just as a business owner myself that works with other small business owners that put on marketing campaigns and things of that nature, it gets pretty wild.
Yeah, I can follow with that. It's exciting. We always jump in along with American Express. They support us with materials to promote that Small Business Saturday. And what we hear from our members, our business owners in the community, is that they need that support. They need that reminder out in the community that they want our locals to shop local and shop small.
Absolutely.
So, Candace, I see you nodding along when Danielle is saying, yeah, it's the craziest time of year. And kind of like, yeah. So you celebrated your 1 year anniversary in August, which is awesome. That's a big milestone for a small business to make it to that 1 year mark. So you have one holiday season under your belt already. So what was that like for you, your very first time around when you hadn't been open very long? And what do you have in mind for this year in terms of how you're going to tackle the holiday shopping season?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first holiday season was both a whirlwind and also a big learning experience. Um, we kind of just like stocked the store as best we could and said, okay, I think this is what people will like. I think this is what they're going to go for. We had plenty of like stocking stuffers. We had a couple of different book sales. Also fill a bag of books for $5, which was also really popular.
Oh,
And
And we
that's
crazy
awesome.
with
That's an
that.
awesome grab bag.
yes. Yeah, absolutely. And people were so excited for it. We get a lot of used book donations. So that really was like, that really helped us. And that really helped us make the money that we needed for that year. So for this time around, I'm kind of like thinking back already of like, okay, I understand a little bit now of what worked during that season, what didn't work that season. And we will definitely be doing special sales. A lot of folks love things that are pre-wrapped and
Mm.
pre-gifted.
Hmm.
So you might have heard of something called Blind Date with a Book, which is
Yes.
basically a book that is wrapped. It usually comes with a couple of little goodies inside, and it has a couple of hints that are written on the book. And it's already pre-wrapped, and it's something that is just kind of like it's a mystery. It's exciting for the gifter and it's exciting for the person who's receiving it. So we'll do lots of that. But yeah, and overall, the biggest thing for us is making sure that we're aware of the many holidays that are happening in the holiday season.
Hmm.
So making sure that we have stuff for Diwali, for Hanukkah, for Kwanzaa, for Christmas. Um, and so when all of those different shoppers are here, they can find something that is relatable to what they're celebrating.
I love that. That's very on brand for your bookstore too, because you're
Yes.
very big on making sure you represent diverse voices, and I love that. And this is just my personal crusade. Probably nowhere is the impact of shopping small as evident as with independent bookstores. And I'm not going to bash Amazon, but who is going to enjoy the benefit of the sales more? The only independent bookstore in Warwick in Orange County, or Jeff Bezos? And so we try really hard to buy from either a local independent bookstore or bookshop.org whenever we can, instead of just getting it from, and there's books everywhere now, right? You could go into any of the big box stores and they've got books and they've got great prices on them. But bookstores are my personal favorite, because there's nothing like going into a bookstore and seeing somebody like Candace, who owns it and who says, "What kind of reader are you? And what do you like?" And she can point me to something. And so it's really, really important. I think that's just like a perfect illustration of the kinds of local businesses that we need to continue to support.
Yes. And on our website, shameless plug here, we do have a link for bookshop.org. We have a tab. Jen, you would know better what the name of the tab is. Is
I
it
think
just
it just says bookshop.
Bookshop?
Hmm.
So if you go to Bookshop, if you go to valleygirlspodcast.com/bookshop, you'll see books from authors that we've had on the show, local Hudson Valley authors, books about the Hudson Valley. But if you just go to bookshop.org, and you can select if there's a specific bookshop. We have in Ulster County, we have also a plethora of great bookstores, Rough Draft Uptown and a few others. So you can always go to bookshop.org and support a specific one in your local community, or if you don't, it will still go to independent small bookstores. So I love that. So Nicole, first of all, candles are obviously a slam dunk as a gift. I have never not wanted to receive a candle, but a lot of people want to have less stuff. And we love the idea of giving experiences as gifts. I do it with my family. A lot of people are really into that. So in addition to your gorgeous line of hand-poured candles, you offer candle pouring workshops. Is that right? And is that something that someone could give as a gift?
Yeah, we do offer candle pouring workshops at our Tannersville studio. Originally, we started out as just a true workshop studio space where we did all the production. We now have kind of where you can actually kind of come in and buy candles as well. It's kind of a little storefront as well. But we also hold workshops there. So if you have a group of girls, a group of guys, any kind of events for like bridal showers, bachelor parties, people can schedule private workshops for 4 or more people and make their own 9-ounce custom blend candle. So like you said, it's a perfect gift as well. If you don't know exactly what scent you should gift someone, you can always give a gift card or even an experience.
That's
I
so
know
fun.
everyone's kind of loving the experience these days is something
Yes,
instead of having a
for sure.
tangible
Mhm.
item, especially if you have like a group, maybe your family you want to gift it as, all get together, in some of those cold months on top of the mountain, in a January or February, it's a great option.
We'll have to have you come back for a full episode and talk all about candles because I love candles almost as much as I love books. But just briefly, because this is the first time we've had you here, how did you get into doing this? And like, how do you come up with these scents? So you have some very like drool worthy scents of your candles on the website. I was saying before we started recording, the Catterskill Falls special edition one looks amazing. So what's your background?
So my background, I'm actually in the fashion design industry. So I have a background in retail, mass fashion for the past 20 years from working at stores like American Eagle and Aeropostale. So I'm very big on the whole Black Friday, and I came at it from a mass retailer, and now as a small business, how important you're saying it is really important for small businesses, as well as big retailers too. But now I'm concentrating on the small. So I have a design background, and I was always big into candles and buying, $50, $60 candles and feeling guilty then when I would come home from a weekend upstate or wherever and spend a lot of money on candles. So I wanted to create a kind of a guilt price point so you didn't feel as guilty buying a candle and still have that luxury experience. So over COVID, I had a little extra time. I had been making candles, started as a craft project with my sister. And then when I had a little extra time during COVID, my friend was opening a store in Catterskill Market, and she was like, and she put a label on it, let's put it in the store. And I delivered actually a Black Friday, Small Business Saturday was the first time I dropped off like 12 candles. The next day she's like, I need a reorder already. And within a week or two later, I had 2 more retailers. I thought I could just sell them on Instagram. And my husband's like, no, we need a website. And now we're in around 40 different retailers, small
Wow.
boutiques, and it's kind of been the past 4 years. It's kind of been a little bit of a journey that started off as a side hustle and it's gotten a little larger.
I love that.
But we do a lot of we do wholesale. Obviously, we sell out of our storefront, and we do markets as well. And that's another big thing, especially for Small Business Saturday. We're going to be at 2 different markets as long and also as our retail spot as well. So those are another big thing for small businesses to be able to showcase their goods during these markets that are really geared to
Mhm.
Yes.
small
So,
vendors.
all right. So that's an awesome story. I love a small business success story like that. But then also kind of getting back to my rant about small bookstores, independent bookstores. So this question is really for everybody, but Candace and Nicole especially. I just want to acknowledge the reality of shopping at small businesses. It is a little bit of a privileged perspective for me to sit here and say, oh, I'm going to prioritize small businesses instead of going to, Walmart or something. It does tend to be more expensive. There might be less selection. I'm not going to necessarily be able to walk into the book and Nook and get every single book on my list because you have a curated selection. You have a storefront. You don't have 16 warehouses within 50 miles of my house. Or I'm sure you could get me anything that I want, but it might take longer. I'm probably not getting next day free delivery, right? So this is certainly not meant to guilt anybody into, if you buy from a big box store, you're awful. But so why is it so important for us to do it anyway? And this is for anybody, what's the real impact that we see of shopping small and shopping local, even if it might take a little bit more effort or a little bit more expense on our part?
I would love to just quick jump in on that because I think it's so important that you shop at the stores that you want to see in your community, that you're intentional in your purpose when you're out shopping and supporting whatever business it is. And often when we think shop small, shop local, we think of the stores like Nicole and Candace. But we also have to think about the box stores that we want in our community, that we don't want to have to travel to the next county over to be able to shop at a Sam's Club or something of that nature. So resisting the temptation for the online convenience, especially during the holiday season, and being really intentional with your purchases is so, so, so important. And I just wanted to share that because that's a message that we put out continually to the Ulster County area.
That's such a good point. Like, I don't think of CVS as shopping local or shopping small, but if the CVS that is walkable from my house were to go out of business, I would be devastated. Not even kidding.
And there's franchises too, so it might not seem like a small business, but those franchises are run and owned by local members of our community. But Jess, I love the way you said that, just the intentional shopping, because intentional shopping in person, and I know online is very convenient. And I know even myself, with having a disability and not being able to get out as often, sometimes it's that much more convenient, but it's also just as convenient to pick up the phone and call your local shops and ask if they'll put something aside or if they can ship it to you, even if you're just in town.
And they will, Jenny, because,
Yes.
Out of the pandemic,
That's what I was
our
going to say.
business
Yep.
owners, our small business owners had to learn how to be creative and how to survive, especially when their stores were shuttered and people weren't coming out, they didn't feel safe. These business owners had to find ways to accommodate their customers' needs. So oftentimes you'll still see that curbside pickup is an option.
Yes.
Or quick delivery, things of that nature. So
I have seen that a lot. Yeah, I agree with that. And that's the other thing I was going to say, is that I feel like, right, out of necessity, a lot of this came through the pandemic, but I'm so thrilled that it's here to stay. And I remember something that struck me during the pandemic, which was, and I know you posted a lot about this as well, Jess, was even at a time that we might not be frequenting business or restaurants, you can buy a gift certificate, whether it's for a gift or just for yourself to use at a later time. But at a time when maybe they're not, having as much of an influx of customers or in diners, you can definitely purchase, and that goes for restaurants and other stores. You can always purchase gift certificates for a local business to be used at another time, and that's another way to support these local businesses. But I totally get what you're saying, Jess, about being intentional and making sure that we are supporting the businesses that we want to see in our community, and we want to see them stay in our community. So.
Yes, and like Jennifer said earlier, you may not have a large spending budget for the holiday season, so it's even that much more important to get out and support and shop local. But there are other ways that you can shop local and support local without spending, and that's by sharing an experience that you had. If you've got a neighbor or a friend that's got a business, we know the power of social media. So just maybe sharing their specials, or if they've got a promotion or an open house type of thing, that's a whole other way to support without big spending, and that has big ripple effects in the community.
Yeah, and also to add on to what Jess is saying, I'm really thinking of putting up a sign in the store that says, "See it here, buy it here, keep us here," because that's really what it's all about for small businesses. And there's also it's either second place or third place, but for all of us, we all have places that we really enjoy going to that's outside of, our homes, maybe a place of worship, etc. And for people, that could be a bookstore, that could be their local small business. So it's not only kind of like seeing like, all right, like where can I get the best deal? It's also, well, what businesses do I want to keep here in my community? Because I love the atmosphere, because I love the staff, because I love the expertise that I'm getting, because I love the events that they put on, etc. I think all those things factor in. And I think, Jennifer, what you were saying earlier, that, small businesses can definitely be a little bit more expensive. It's true. Part of that is because just kind of the wholesale prices that we're getting. Amazon literally will buy books at such a low discount so that when they're selling it on their website, they're actually selling it at a loss because they want folks to come for the books because that's how they first started out, but also to buy other things on their website. So when you're saving on maybe like that book or two, you're paying more in other items across their website, and that's a part of their business strategy.
Yeah, some other time we'll have to do a panel on Literary Hudson Valley about the impact on authors of Amazon using books as a loss leader and how that trickles down.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like a lot of folks, and for my part, I do my part in trying to educate in a way of saying that, you know, we have many different price ranges. So in my store, we have literally 2 6-foot tables filled with dollar books. Everything on the table's dollar book, various genres, various age ranges, etc., including an entire bookshelf. And we're able to do that because we get a lot of donations from folks because we're able to save a lot of books from being frankly thrown out. So those are things that you can't find on Amazon. And those are things that I think help us to really stick out, among other reasons. But yeah, it's definitely, it's a challenge being a small business owner, but it's also really rewarding because we do give back to our communities in many different ways.
Yeah. Danielle and Nicole, I'm curious if you had any follow-ons to what Jess was saying about the impact of other ways that people support your business, even if they can't always spend, just getting reviews, the word of mouth. Have you seen the impact of that on your own businesses?
Yeah, you know, I was just going to mention too, when someone's hard-earned dollar is circulated within their community, it affects the full community, bottoms up, you know, tops down. So first of all, like if you can't buy fully from a small bit, you know, from small businesses, from shopping local, buying a portion, you know, if your wrapping paper is from a local shop, but you know, the gift is potentially from somewhere else, like doing those small things, like still make that big impact. The other piece of it is if you have family members that can afford, you know, shopping at a smaller business, and you send them the links to the places that you love and they purchase a gift card to that place for you, it's a nice way to like still have people outside in the world, you know, contribute to your local community. I know a lot of small businesses in the Rivertowns Chamber of Commerce have a wish list option. So, you know, they'll make a wish list and then send that link to a family member or a friend and just say like, just so you know, I love this shop. I love this place. I love this service-based business. I love this thing from for the holidays or whatever it might be. So there are a bunch of creative ways I think you can do it too. So it's either, you know, buying fully from small businesses or a portion from small businesses to kind of make an impact in some capacity, or, you know, asking family and friends to also shop at your favorite places.
Speaking of wrapping paper, Nicole, I definitely want to hear what you have to say, but I was just thinking that Candace recently had a post about those new tote bags that you have in store that are super cute. And I love things like that. Instead of getting wrapping paper, which is fun, I love wrapping paper, but then you're going to crumple it up. Most wrapping paper can't be recycled because it has metallic and stuff. So, you know, I love the idea of even just like going into the Book and Nook and getting a reusable canvas tote bag and using that to package your gifts instead of more stuff that you're going to throw away. But Nicole, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, yes, besides people just supporting, coming into my studio and buying candles, since Tannersville is kind of a mountain town, resort town, and second home owners, we have a lot of people that are always having guests in town in their house. And it's one of the things that they always are stop bringing their guest by. They might not be buying every single week when they come in but they're bringing other people that they're passionate about my product, my candles, and they want to share it with their friends. And it's the biggest honor to see that they come back with their friends to kind of show them what they like and what's going on in their town. So that's another way of, just bringing other people in, letting them know.
Well, I know for a fact, Jen and I are definitely those people that, you know, we may be at home, be like, no, I'm watching my budget and I can't do this. And then as soon as like, even if it's just visiting each other, honestly, we're just like, oh, I'm on vacation. I'll spend money, you know, while I'm on
Vacation dollars don't count.
Yeah, yeah, we are very big into that.
I love too the idea of when you are on vacation, buying locally in that area. So Jenny and I have a friend from college, Tanya, and a long time ago she came to visit me in Texas, and we were looking for some place to eat. And I was like, we have this, and we have this, and we have this. And I was mentioning things that would maybe be familiar to her, and she said, I don't want to eat any place where I could eat at home in the Bronx. Like it has to be like I came to Texas, I want a only in Texas place to eat. And so I always think about that when I'm traveling. Of course, I always go looking for the bookstore first. But even like the local markets and stuff. So I love the idea of people being, even if they're just up from the city or whatever, like, hey,
Yeah.
we're in Tannersville. Show me like your hyper local place that like I literally can't get this anyplace else.
Yeah, and that's what's so like fulfilling, that people are up on their weekend trips or whatever, and they want to buy local. They want to buy something in a small business. And especially my candles do well because they are poured in the Catskills, poured right there. They can see them, usually when they walk into my studio, I have candles all over the back tables that are in production. And compared to like some of the other candle lines that might be sold at other stores, they prefer to buy one that was actually truly local, hyper local.
Or even gifts to bring home. You're right. So like if I'm on
vacation,
vacation,
they'll buy a candle, and it's more of a guilt-free price, that they'll buy a candle for themselves as their souvenir instead of having a magnet of Tannersville. They can buy the candle that says poured there, but then they also can take one home for whoever was watching their dog or their children. And it's kind of like a nice gift, and you're really feeling like you're supporting the community. Also something great for yourself.
Yeah. And Candace, I love something. I just want to point out something that you said about, how small businesses historically, they are just so wonderful at giving back to the community. And, getting back to the original question that you asked, Jen, about like why, like with all of the like, oh, but it's easier, it's more convenient to go, online to a big box place, and it's cheaper and maybe I can get it quicker. That right there is such a big reason to support local and support small businesses, is the amount that these businesses give back to the community, and you are helping to support that. So yes, that I just really want to highlight as well.
Jenny, I totally second that, because that's in my notes, that these businesses, especially, I'm sure Danielle has the same experience working so closely with so many businesses. We see what they give back and how they support, and the asks that are continual. And when they can say yes, they're always saying yes. And so thank you for sharing that, because that was in my notes to make sure that we get that out as well.
Absolutely. And especially, I mean, Jess, you and I are here in Ulster County, but, I see this throughout Hudson Valley, that we are a very generous community, a very generous region. And there are so many, whether it's drives or fundraisers or whatever it is, and being on a few boards myself and having to be the one to go into business and be like, oh, well, we're hosting this gala and we're looking for donations for our silent auction. I very, very, very rarely have ever heard somebody say, oh, nope, just not going to do it. I don't donate to that kind of. People are just like, sure, here's a $20 gift certificate. Can't do much, but here's a book to, whatever it is. They are so giving and without a second thought, constantly giving. And there's a lot of these events to give to or promote or sponsor local events. That's another big thing that a lot of local small businesses do, is sponsor local events. So being able to give back to those who are giving to the community is another huge reason.
Plus, there's the personalization, right? We talked about this a lot when we went to the Socrates artist studio tour.
Yes.
And like our friend Meredith, and going to Barbara Bravo's and just being like, we're in Barbara's studio. This is where she makes her pottery. She's showing us her kiln. She's showing us pieces in progress. You're not going to get that anyplace else. Like I could go into the Catskills Candle Studio and say, okay, Nicole, I'm looking for a gift. She doesn't really like florally scents. She likes more like herby, woody scents. And you're going to find me something perfect. Or I can go to Candace, and nobody likes to talk about recommendations the way that book people like to talk about recommendations. She's going to say, what are some of your favorites? I'm going to say, well, I just finished this short story collection and I'm looking for something else like that. And she's going to find me 4 things and be like, oh, I know. Oh, one more thing. And so just the personalization and the like, actually looking at the person who made your thing or procured your thing, that there's no other experience that compares to that. Even if you go to a big box store and you actually find somebody who works there who's helpful, it's not going to be the same experience as buying something from the person who poured your candle 2 days ago and putting it into your hand.
Yeah,
Totally.
Jennifer, on that note, I mean, like just knowing the small business owners and creating that sense of community, like your feeling of belonging in your neighborhood and in your community is so important to one, your mental health. You just feel better when you walk out the door and can recognize another face or, the person in the shop. But it is such a warming feeling when, yeah, you can help them in some way. They can help you in some way. That community building is so important.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
And even as like a small business that I do wholesale and retail, I love to support my wholesale partners and the small businesses that are all over. I'm pretty hyper local of the Catskills area. I have branched out and have retailers, on the West Coast and stuff, but like to be able to just shout out other small businesses, like I said, Catskill Market, or my favorite bookstore, Briars and Brambles on the mountaintop in Wyndham, and they carry my candles, but that's the first place I will refer to them. If they are in town shopping in Tannersville, it's like, oh, if you have time, you should drive up to Briars and Brambles. It's just 15 minutes away, and like to be able to cross promote those other small businesses is like, to me, like so fulfilling.
Yes, the trickle down effect of like the supply chain. So we were going to have a panelist and she was unable to make it at the last minute. She got sick kids. But there's a boutique on Main Street, literally on Main Street in Beacon called Hyperbole, and it's co-owned by two people named Carolyn and Andrea, and they have a lot of stuff that's by local makers, local artisans. They really prioritize having things in by small local makers, and so you're just like amplifying the small businessness of that, because not only are you an independent business there on Main Street, but then you're bringing in stuff from other local people who maybe wouldn't have a distribution system otherwise. So I love how that just kind of like amplifies all of the efforts.
Yes, great point. And we're sorry you guys couldn't make it if you're listening. Hope everybody's feeling better. We've got more to discuss with our fabulous panel coming up. But first, Rebecca is going to share a bit with us about some spectacular entertainment in the Capital Region that you do not want to miss.
Hello, and welcome to A Capital Idea with Rebecca Ash. This week, we highlight local adult variety show, The Bijou Show, and their 7th anniversary spectacular. Where can you find a dazzling local show full of burlesque, belly dance, and variety acts? Look no further than that little gem, The Bijou Show, the show that shimmies, sparkles, and pops. Local belly dance legend and producer Cherish Holmes has been bringing us fresh adult variety entertainment since 2017. Each show is specially curated to feature talented Northeast entertainers from New York, Massachusetts, and beyond, and has routinely sold out venues all over the Capital District. No two shows are ever the same, making for a unique experience each time, and it will definitely leave you wanting to see what the next one has in store. The shows are typically the first Friday of every month, but in case you can't wait, Cherish also produces Bijou Bingo. But this isn't your granny's bingo, unless your granny's extra cool. It couples the classic game with trivia and local acts, making for a rollicking good time. One of the most anticipated shows of the year is their Anniversary Spectacular, and this year they celebrate the Bijou Show's 7th Anniversary Spectacular on December 6th at Ophelia's in downtown Albany. So, what can one expect in an adult variety show anyway? Racy in body but never vulgar, you'll find a mix of classically trained belly dancers, local drag artists, musicians, sideshow artists, vocalists, comics, jugglers, hoop and flow artists, and burlesque dancers. The material is more mature in nature, and this anniversary special is sure to heat up your holidays. This year, the lineup includes Cherish, Jordan and Lady Phoenix, Mimi Meshuggah, Marina LaPearl, Jean Lagoon, Jemmy Demure, and me, Ladyfingers. Mimi, Cherish, and I will also be doing a special holiday trio, choreographed by yours truly, as the Hot Flashes. Emerald Storm, our delicious kitten for the evening, will be the stripper picker-upper, and the effervescent Roxy Tar will orchestrate the whole evening as hostess. Tickets at the door will be $25 per person, but you can pre-purchase tickets for $20 each by going to cherishtribalfusion.weebly.com and clicking on the Bijou Show tickets. Pre-purchasing tickets also gets you an early bird raffle ticket, and you definitely want in on that action. Raffle prizes include goodies from sponsors such as Deep Eddy Vodka, New Scotland Spirits, and local artisans like jewelry, Divalicious designs by Marissa, and pasties by Emerald Storm. Doors are at 8 o'clock, and the show starts at 9, so feel free to come early and grab a bite or a drink from Ophelia's delicious menu. And don't wait. Get those tickets early because this show consistently sells out and you do not want to miss the fun. The Bijou Show's 7th Anniversary Spectacular happens December 6th at 9 p.m. at Ophelia's. And Ophelia's is located at 388 Broadway in Albany.
Candace, I want to ask you, and really this is for all of you, but Candace, I know you do some collaborations and special events, like your recent Sip and Read night, which is so fun. How do events like that fit into your overall business strategy? And that really is for any of you who have experience with special events as part of your marketing and community engagement.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's that's at the core pretty much of our business model, and just our values as well. So being a community bookstore, we're always looking for opportunities to partner with other businesses, even in ways that you may think like, oh, like how can a collaboration kind of work between these two entities? And those are kind of like my favorite type of things to kind of like solve and figure out. The Sip and Read that you mentioned was so much fun, and it was so successful, and it was simple. It was really just us bringing our a curated selection of books, stationery, tote bags to one of our local wine bars that just opened a couple of months ago. And it was such a nice event because folks who love both of those things, both love wine and books, were able to enjoy it. Yeah. In one place. And for my business and also for the owners of the wine bar, both of us were able to get those profits in, to get those visibility in, and not only that, but also we're able to provide an event that everyone loved, to the point that literally that same night we were talking and we were like, yeah, let's get another date. This went really well, and really like one of the reasons why it went really well is because I care a lot. I care a lot. I care about how folks are receiving it. I care about their experiences. And I think that really comes through in the events. And literally the next day I posted photos and I posted, okay, we have a date, and it automatically like started selling. And so that to me was just like, okay, great. Like we're on the right track here.
But there's that amplification again. Like there's this wine bar that just opened a couple months ago and you're like, okay, I've got, 15, 16 months under my belt. Like, let me pull you up too. What's the name of the wine bar, by the way?
The Warwick Wine Bar.
Oh,
fantastic. Yes. Highly, highly recommend. And that's really it too. I mean, like being able to do pop-ups and being able to partner with other businesses, those are something that mutually is beneficial, and it mutually helps in terms of visibility, and in terms of like bringing folks into like from the community into these spaces and saying, hey, like this is what we have going on. And so we do that with like local businesses, and we also do that with nonprofits as well. We have hosted quite a few here in the bookstore in terms of events or in terms of panel discussions, things like that. And I mean, that's one of the reasons why I started this. I wanted this to be, a space for the community to be able to have discussions and be able to connect. So whether we're going on Main Street to like meet folks and do those pop-ups, or if we're bringing folks here, I mean, that's really what it's all about. It's very community focused.
If I could just quickly underline too what Candace is saying. So, from a marketing perspective, my Main Street Business Strategies hat, I suggest B2B partnerships to my clients all the time. The main reason is because you really want to, one, partner with either new business or an existing business that has an audience that you want to get in front of, right? Like they have one of your target primary audiences that you just haven't been able to tap yet. So partnering together, you guys are showing how you relate and what the creativity can do, and it gets people excited. And I think, Candace, what you were saying about, partnering especially with other businesses that you wouldn't expect or audiences wouldn't expect you to partner with, kind of like creates the most beautiful partnerships, because it's just, it shows how unique and different a small business can be because they're thinking outside of the box. But yeah, I love the B2B partnership aspect of it. And then from a chamber perspective, it's so lovely to see so many of these like neighboring small businesses just come together for either an event or a product collaboration or a service collaboration, and just get everyone excited, everyone supporting each other. But yeah, the audiences piece and getting in front of that target that maybe another business has that you want to get in front of, and vice versa, it's mutually beneficial. And I think it's so wonderful to see how many cool things come out of it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And Jess, you do this, so much with your the wonderful mixers that you guys have through the chamber. I mean, I love seeing that it's about the businesses collaborating, meeting each other, supporting each other. So I know that's something that you're very much in support of and do all the time.
Yeah, even from a small scale, I'll often share, I handle most of our social media here at the Ulster County Chamber. And I love to share our members supporting members or another member collab. It makes me think of, I was just, the last few months, I've been going to this new class that's offered. It's evolved into what it's called Cookbook Conversations, which would be really cool, Candace, for you. Kingston Social opened in Uptown Kingston here, and it's 3 women-owned businesses that collaborated together. They were historically in different parts of Uptown, and now it's a mercantile, a cafe, and a gallery. And each of these women have incredible talents in their areas and work together to bring their products and services to the community. So monthly, they're holding this cookbook conversations, and what they do is they sell the books in the store. And it's so neat because they're bringing in a lot of local authors to come in and talk about the book and talk about their journey and their story. And I was just at the class last month, and I just loved it. We do things like interactive, like we practice the recipes and then we talk about the recipes. But what I see when I'm there is this sense of community, especially here in Kingston, and I know some of the other communities out there, they've seen it. We've had a lot of people come to this area over the last 5 years. We had initially a shift where people were coming in, and like Mountaintop is the same back at 9/11. But then through the pandemic, these people came here and they decided that they could find different ways to work and actually live here and work remotely. And so it's a really nice mix of the new faces and the original faces and people that we don't know that are living here in the community. And those types of collaborations are really absolutely incredible. And I've had a lot of fun going to these. On a bigger scale, we do a Buy Local Expo every year, which features typically 85 local businesses, non-for-profits. We see a lot of them come to this event and table at this event, and we make it really fun. We have a contest and we have award winners and plaques. But it's really, truly a celebration of what the Ulster County community has to offer. And what happens inside the room is the B2B contact and connections are really some of the most meaningful connections. We see hundreds of people come throughout the community during that day, but it's the people that are visiting each other's booths and learning more about each other that it's really so meaningful. And I have one quick story I'll tell you. Last year I was there, and we had a new dumpster removal company next to the SPCA. And fast forward a few weeks after the event, I'm at the SPCA Fur Ball, and there is Simply Gone Dumpster has a huge table. He decided after talking with them to become a sponsor for this upcoming event. And so those are the kind of full circle stories that I know I get to hear about all the time and see about. And I'd love to highlight that out to the community when I have opportunities and platforms like this today with these cool Valley girls.
Well, apropos of almost nothing, but if I say it on a podcast, it makes me do it. So Candace, this is our mission for next summer. We're going to make friends with a pizzeria, and Valley Girls podcast and Literary Hudson Valley will sponsor the punch card where you read your 10 books and you get a free pizza, like when we were little kids. And so they'll have to come into the Book and Nook and get their stamp or whatever. They can buy them from the dollar table. So reading for pizza, I feel like that's the dream that we're just all trying to get back to the good vibes of. if I got a pizza for every book I read, I would eat a lot of pizza. I do eat a lot of pizza anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say like you don't now.
I have a vision of doing a fun pizza reading situation. So
I love
I
that.
love it. I love
really
it.
love
Let's do it.
And just to get back to something you said, actually that was another thing I thought was, you know, I know we keep mentioning post-pandemic, but it's very impactful for our businesses. And not only do we have this influx of people moving here, or maybe they were weekenders, or maybe, they had summer homes and now they're moving here permanently. And you're right, like 9/11 was the first influx, or, I should say the last influx. Now we've got post-pandemic, but also speaking of pandemic, this idea of having these collaborative events in person, live events in person, is something that, most people have really been craving since the isolation of the pandemic. So it's not only getting out there and shopping in person. Yes, it was very easy to get used to shopping online and doing everything from the comfort of your couch and sitting there all cozy in your PJs, but getting out there and seeing people and watching the connection that happens when people come together for these live events, is something that I think is just fantastic and very much craved in post-pandemic world that we live in. So yeah, absolutely. So, for Danielle and Jess, as leaders in your chambers of commerce, what are ways that you advise businesses to optimize their promotions for this time of year? It's going to be Thanksgiving and Black Friday and Small Business Saturday coming up, and the holidays right around the corner. So, how can the chamber help? And Danielle, do you have advice or strategy you offer to your Main Street Business Strategies clients?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, broadly speaking, chambers of commerce just help businesses navigate resources, right? Like it helps, we help assist in getting their business news out. We help in their marketing, whether it's, promoting their holiday sale or finding that new hire, like blasting that out to our community through newsletters or whatever it is. So definitely keeping a close eye on chamber news and newsletters and social media, and attending the events, the general chamber meetings that we host. Even though it's the busy season, like trying as best as possible to still, work with your small business friends, and then also the chamber, to make sure we're able to help as much as possible. With the Rivertowns Chamber, we specifically launched a Shop Local campaign in mid-November through the end of December. And it's basically promoting all of our members across the board, whether they're service, digital, brick and mortar, food and bev, like whatever it is, through a social media and e-newsletter campaign. And then we also provide a trolley one day in December to allow the community to go out after seeing this full campaign. We provide a map, and we do different stops along the river towns and allow our community to go out and make those purchases, and connect with our business owners. So, it's a full effort. And I think that making sure that you are, in close communication with your chamber, again, just to make sure we're able to share your news and your marketing materials, is so important. But that Shop Local campaign is a huge effort, and we want to make sure we're capturing everybody. So you don't even have to be doing a deal or a discount, which a lot of businesses can't afford to do. So, sure. We definitely still want to promote their products and their services and their brand voice and all of that, whether or not they're doing a promotion or not.
I want to go on the shopping trolley.
Yeah, I know. I love the idea of the shopping trolley.
That's
I'm
so
into
fun.
that.
It's cute. Yeah, we have like a little fair, and then we have, holiday characters, and we have, some of the restaurants are doing specialty hot chocolates or hot apple ciders or whatever it is, and just kind of gets people through their day, and, tackles all their shopping in one go. But I'll let Jess jump in, and then I can jump in after to talk about like some marketing strategies for small businesses.
So we do the exact same thing in our own fashion. We've tried different things over the years, Shop Small, Win Big, where we incentivize the community to get out and shop on that Small Business Saturday with signage. And we had a sponsor come in. We've had a $500 winner each year that's out in the community that wins a $500 Visa card. But something that Danielle said that's really important is that the campaign starts in the middle of November and it runs through the end of December. Initially, we followed that American Express idea of that Small Business Saturday being specific for small businesses and local. And what we really have realized through the years is that we really need to remind the community to shop local all season long. All of the holidays are throughout that season as well. I think maybe Jennifer mentioned earlier, or Nicole, inclusivity and diversity. So we've got holidays that start at the beginning of December that end, at the end of December. And so that keeping that energy and that intent alive all season long is really so important. But I also think, Danielle, you mentioned being able to hire extra staff. And I think we all know there's a workforce crisis right now. Our employers are challenged. So what we did find doing these campaigns is that they're not always receiving all the communications, or they're not acting on promoting and taking advantage of the event because they're just so bogged down with day-to-day operations. So really encouraging your shoppers to, I say this to Nicole, to Candace, to promote for you and make it fun, let them win something or a small gift certificate or whatever it might be. And we all know we're living in a visual world. So they want to see the product. They want to see where the store is. They want to see inside. So we've always encouraged our members to show the community what's available here in Ulster County.
So Danielle, we'll come back to you, but because not everybody has a trolley, and so Nicole, I don't know like what the foot traffic is like where you are in Tannersville, but it's probably not the same as being on Main Street in Sleepy Hollow. But so what are some of so you mentioned you're going to be at a couple markets. So you can mention what those markets are and how do you generate engagement? So the worst thing is when you go to one of those markets and then the vendors are just kind of sitting there slumped behind their table. And I know it's hard. It's a long day. It's rough. But then I feel like, oh God, am I bothering her if I go over and sniff the candle? So like, what are your market
That's one
strategies?
of my pet peeves. Well, I first want to say last year we started our holiday stroll in Tannersville and this year will be December 7th. So we are going to do a little thing. And we also do have a trolley that will have hot chocolate. And yeah, so it's new for us. So we're really still kind of wrapping head around it and promoting it. But so many other towns around us offer it, like Catskill and Hudson. So we will be doing that again. The lucky thing about Tannersville is we are a destination town. That's kind of how we have our foot traffic. Last Saturday, we had one of our busiest Saturdays ever, a random Saturday. Of course, people were up leaf peeping and all that kind of stuff. But so we kind of have a built-in audience of new people every weekend, which is very helpful from a small business and how I've been successful. But markets is the other big thing for sure. I will this year for Small Business Saturday be at Wyndham Manors doing a holiday market. It's a beautiful barn and wedding venue in Wyndham with local artisans that will be displaying. And then also, I believe I'll be doing Field and Supply holiday pop-up market in Senate Garage. Actually, I think my husband is signing up for it as we speak. They released the registration. But last weekend or the weekend before, we did Field and Supply in Kingston, and that's one of our big markets of the year where there's like over 200 vendors, artisans from Hudson Valley, New York, all over really. And it's curated extremely well and very upscale, and we do very well. But to have people that come every year and recognize us is kind of always the greatest joy. We also do a dual market at the same time in Wyndham, and the same people keep coming back every year and recognize us. And that's so amazing that they continue to buy from us or buy from us online if they're not around. But I do agree with the people. I'm always so stunned when I'm at markets and I see people sitting behind their booth, not engaged at all, and just look miserable. I mean, I've seen people or reading. I sat next to someone that was reading the entire time. And then at the end of the market, she says to me, she goes, well, there was kind of high traffic at this market, but not a lot of return on sales. And I was like, you didn't engage with anybody. So yeah. I find the markets the most fun because you can actually get to see your customer in real life besides behind the computer screen, and really can kind of talk passionately about your product. And candles are so nostalgic anyhow with smells. And if someone, smells something and brings up memories, or they're intrigued by something. I have a tomato mint candle. It's so unique. And it's biggest conversation starter. Like people will come over the table because they're like, tomato and mint, what does that smell like? I don't know if they think it's going to be like their grandma's tomato sauce, but it's the tomato leaf of the in your garden. So it smells like summer.
It smells like my grandpa's garden from when I was growing up. My grandpa had tons of tomatoes.
Yeah. So, but that just kind of starts the conversation, be like, oh, what else do you have? And but definitely customer interaction is so important and makes them feel special too if you're really showing your passion about it and why you did something or your story.
Yeah, as a consumer, I know I love to know more about the other side of it and support more than just making the purchase, right? Because there's a lot of great candle makers out there. But now I want to come in and see your store, Nicole. I want to learn how to pour a candle. I've learned more about you, and it's become like a personalized experience, and it makes it so much that more meaningful for me as a consumer.
Yeah.
Danielle, you had a few other thoughts on the whole strategy and helping businesses. Did you have something else you were going to say?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say from a marketing perspective, I think that so many business owners get overwhelmed with the opportunity, right? Everyone is out there shopping, so they assume their audience is now suddenly everybody. When throughout the rest of the year, it's been specifically for primary, secondary audiences within a target market. And so I often tell clients and also chamber members not to overcomplicate their marketing strategy, right? Like we know who our product is for, we know who our services are for. Of course, you want to tap new customers within that target market or within that primary audience, but you don't want to lose sight of like what your brand voice is, that brand tone that you've been communicating, and sharing the snowman graphic with the 20% off discount on your social media isn't going to move the needle for you. You have to still capture, this kind of relates back to what Jess was mentioning, like the vibe in your shop, the communication strategy, your team morale, and just all of the things that make your business so specific and different. And so I often just tell like I said, clients and also chamber members not to lose sight of who their audiences are. Even though everyone is out there shopping, it's your product and service is not for everyone, and don't get lost in the mix with just some generic stuff. Make sure that you're using images, content, quotes, reviews, testimonials from your customers throughout the full year to push that holiday marketing forward. And it just kind of underlines what Jess was saying earlier about, still showing, the goods of your business for sure.
That's so smart. That's really smart. All right. So the air date of this episode is going to be November 14th. And so we're all saying Small Business Saturday, like everybody knows what that is, but Thanksgiving, in case you're not ready yet, is Thursday, the 28th. And so Small Business Saturday is that Saturday, which is November 30th. So one other thing that I want to mention too, I know we've mentioned nonprofits. Jess and Candace both specifically talked about partnering with nonprofits, but that is just one other thing to think about while we're spending money like we're Jeff Bezos at holiday time. So nonprofits, I did a little research on this and I found a ton of statistics. Nonprofits bring in about 40% of their annual revenue on average during the holiday season. 28% of nonprofits raise between 26 and 50% of their annual funds in their year-end donations. Half of all nonprofits receive the majority of their annual donations during the last 3 months of the year, with 31% coming in December. 12% of all giving happens in the last 3 days of the year. So could be a lot of reasons. Maybe that's when you get your bonus at work and you want to give some away. Maybe you want the tax donation. Totally valid. Maybe you're just feeling generous. Maybe you had a lot of mulled wine at Candace's Sip and Read. Whatever it is, it's just important that we think about that too. Whatever giving aligns with our values and what we want to promote and support. We don't want to lose sight of, thinking about our nonprofits at this time of year as well. So that's my little plug for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you all so much. Is there anything anyone wants to share? Anything else we did not talk about that anybody wants to share?
I actually, really quickly, I want to make a note that, as customers, be gracious to the small business owners. They don't have overnight shipping and free shipping. So be kind to them when it takes a few extra days to get something, or if you're ordering something specific from a shop or a service-based business digitally, or not, just understand that there are shipping costs and some delays. So I just want to mention that because I know that that's always a concern for small business owners, but just throwing that out there.
Very true. With shipping, as somebody mentioned before, workforce issues. So they may, even during the holidays, be short-staffed or just simply can't afford to hire extra staff during the holidays. So, it always pays to be kind. For sure.
Yes.
And you just mentioned also about, service businesses. And that's another thing. I know we've talked a lot about, product-based businesses, but there's a lot of local small business, community-owned service businesses out there as well. So when we talk about Shop Local, Small Business Saturday, I mentioned before about gift certificates for restaurants, even if you're not going to use them during the holiday time, buy them for yourself, for your loved ones as gifts, but same goes for service industries as well. So that's another thing to just kind of think about.
Lessons. I always think lessons are a great gift.
Yeah.
Somebody always wanted to try to learn painting, so you can get them some art lessons, some martial arts lessons, whatever it might be. I love that, because that goes back to what we were talking to Nicole about, is giving experiences instead of just more stuff. So
well, I for one will never turn down a massage. I'm just going to put that out there to all of you. I will never turn down a massage gift certificate.
A massage and a candle and a book for afterwards. We're golden.
There you go. And a slice of pizza, of course, to finish it off. We got to have the pizza. Ladies, thank you so much. This has been just amazing. We're so thrilled to have you all here. And yeah, just so grateful for you all and what you do, and keep doing it. We love you.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holiday local shopping.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone for listening. Please like and subscribe, rate and review, because as we know, it all helps tremendously. Do you love the Valley Girls? Tell a friend. Have ideas for the podcast? Tell us. The easiest way to chat with us is our Facebook group, Valley Girls Podcast Pod Squad, or you can contact us through our website, valleygirlspodcast.com, where you can also sign up for our newsletter so you never miss a thing. And of course, we're on Instagram at valleygirlspodny. We can't wait to hear from you. Oh, and do you love our theme music as much as we do? The music for this episode is by Robert Burke Warren, entitled Painting a Vast Blue Sky, and can be found on his album Red-Headed Friend, available on iTunes and Spotify, and at the link in the show notes. Bye for now.